This is Dylan. Dissatisfied with his soul-sucking 9-to-5 job, he quit it to start a life of travel. While on a motorcycle trip through Vietnam, he heard about sailing and cruising. And after finding my YouTube videos on off-grid sailboat living, he quickly became enthralled with the pure freedom this lifestyle provides. Inspired and intrigued, he watched all the videos on my YouTube channel and eventually reached out to me directly.
What's up, Daniel?
We connected, I put him through the interview process, and soon I realized he's the real deal. Someone genuinely looking to live for the adventure and help out along the journey. But this story isn't mine to tell, it's his. This story is told by him through his 19 daily video logs describing only his most memorable moments. This is Dylan's story of crewing aboard Adventureborne.
Hooty-hoo! My name is Dylan, and this video will be a quick review of my first 10 days crewing aboard Adventureborne. First day, I arrived in St. Martin. It was actually towards the evening when I arrived, and Daniel gave me a quick boat tour, and then he was like, let's go on an adventure. So he threw me in the dinghy, and took me to the underwater statue park, which was incredible. He threw 2 subnados on my arms, and we ripped around, and we had an incredible sunset. I got a fun shot of Daniel shooting up out of the water. He had 4 subnados strapped to his legs, and he shot up out of the water, literally above his torso. Incredible shot, and it was a great first day. The second day, I went on a supply run, got a lot of good groceries, and then had to do another sunset mission. So we went up to Mount Fortune, which it's not really a mountain, but it's a little viewpoint that is right next to the Simpson Bay Lagoon where we were anchored. It was an incredible spot to watch the sunset. Daniel, of course, just says, I'll meet you at the top, and he disappears around the corner, shows up at the top with a baby goat in his arms. He really is really good with animals. And this little baby goat was falling asleep in his arms while we watched the sunset. So that was a good experience. On the third day, Daniel informed me that Spirit Animal was actually anchored in the same area that we were, in the Simpson Bay Lagoon. If you're not familiar with Spirit Animal, they're another sailing YouTube channel that I'm a big fan of. And he said he was going over to do a boat tour and asked if I wanted to come. And I was like, hell yeah, I do. It was really fun to meet Raph and Sasha. They're great people, and he actually had me sit in with the interview at the end, so that was a really special experience to meet them and to see their boat. It's absolutely gorgeous, and we were there for a while. There was an extensive boat tour, so that took up almost the whole day. Unfortunately, on the 4th day, Daniel actually started to feel sick, but that did not stop him from being creative. He worked on editing while I did some chores on the boat, and then he actually dropped me off on the island, and I did my own little thing on the island while he had some time to rest and take care of his body and feel better, because we had a lot of things planned coming up. So it was a nice reset day, and Daniel was smart to listen to his body and take a rest day so he could feel better. On the 5th day, Daniel still wasn't feeling well, so we took another easy rest day. But we weren't just sitting around. Daniel was editing, and I worked on editing the photos and videos that we had taken on the few days prior, and got those files over to him. And Daniel and I had a lot of stuff planned coming up, so he was smart to get a lot of editing done so he could have some videos already ready in the bank to release, because there was going to be a lot of things coming up, as you're about to hear about. On the 6th day, Daniel started to feel better. So it was a good thing he listened to his body and took those 2 rest days and got ahead on editing, and his immune system could work and beat the sickness very quickly. So we started to look at what needed to be done before we were going to sail out, and one of the things on the list was to get rid of this paddleboard that Daniel had found in the Simpson Bay Lagoon that was pretty beat up. We went around the lagoon asking cruisers if anyone wanted it, to see if they could fix it up and give it a new life, but no one claimed it. So we were about to just ditch it back where he found it, and then we decided, you know what? Let's keep this thing. Let's just do it ourselves. Let's fix this thing up. So we took it to the beach. We started sanding it. We got the epoxy ready, the fiberglass, and it was really valuable for me to learn how to work with all of that, because I had never done any fiberglass work or worked with that kind of epoxy resin before. And I think it's very important for any inspiring sailor to know how to do that, because it's gonna really be valuable for you when you're out sailing to know how to do that kind of work. On the 7th day, we finished the paddleboard and we prepared to set sail and leave St. Martin. We had some delicious pastries on the French side of the island as a final treat in St. Martin. It was such a great island, and it was very good to me. I will definitely be back. But we were setting sail early in the morning on the 8th day. Early in the morning on the 8th day, we ducked the bridge at 8:30 a.m. and set into open blue waters. Literally, I'm not lying, within 5 minutes of ducking the bridge, dolphins were swimming on the bow. I ran up to the bow and was dancing and having a great time enjoying my first passage. The passage was a long one, but it was a fun one. We actually arrived in the BVIs at 4 a.m. So it was about a 20-hour sail, but it was incredible. On the 9th day, we woke up at our new anchorage in the BVIs, which stands for the British Virgin Islands. And we were anchored near the Saba Rock Resort, which was very intentional because Daniel has a collaboration going on with them where he is going to do a tour of the resort and give them a lot of footage. So we met with the general manager in the afternoon to go over expectations on what he expected from us and the shots he wanted us to get and what we expected from him. And luckily, he accepted when we asked if we could go e-foiling, and Daniel wanted to go kiteboarding. So we were very thrilled to make all of this happen. On the 10th day, which is today, we woke up in the morning and Daniel went kiteboarding and I flew the drone and got some good shots of him. Then Daniel checked into his room at the resort and I got to check it out and have a nice hot shower, and it's an incredible room. And after checking into the room and getting some photos around the resort, we got to go e-foiling, which is something that I've always wanted to do, and it was incredible. Day 11 was our last full day at Saba Rock Resort. We woke up, got to work, we filmed the entire resort in a hyperlapse, got a lot of good content for the resort, and then we got to ride the e-foils again. So that was a lot of fun and started getting a hang of it a little bit more, so that was a good feeling. After the e-foils, we got to do the tarpon feeding again. This time Daniel jumped in with 6 subnados and I got some drone shots of him zipping around the tarpon, so it was a great final day at Saba Rock Resort. Day 12, we checked out of Saba Rock Resort, said our goodbyes and thank yous, and then we had a perfect downwind sail through the rest of the British Virgin Islands, past Spanish Town. It was a great sail, and because we actually had an extra day, we just nestled in as soon as we got to the US Virgin Islands. We just nestled in on St. John in this little protected anchorage and had an early night because the next couple days are going to be full of a lot of adventures. Day 13, we continued to St. Thomas and we anchored near Captain Blake Spiro's boat and awaited for Captain Jack Spiro to arrive. Yeah, similar names, both great spear fishermen. We had a good night meeting each other and then making our plans for our spearfishing adventure. So day 14, we woke up and we set sail to the secluded island where we were going to be spearfishing for the next 2 days. We had a perfect sail over there. Blake was buddy boating with us, and then we had Jack on Daniel's boat, and it was such a perfect sail. Jack and Daniel were jumping off the bow of the boat and then swimming onto the swim platform, so that's how perfect of a sail it was. And we set anchor, and I'm not even exaggerating, within minutes of being there, Daniel had pulled up 5 fish from the reef, which was just wild to see him work. He's an absolute killer. And that night we had dinner on Daniel's boat with all the boys, and it was a delicious dinner. We had lobster, we had permit, Daniel made a poke bowl. It was really a perfect dinner and a great night that I'll cherish for a long time to come. So day 15, we woke up again at the secluded island and we got at it early. So around sunrise, we picked up Jack from Blake's boat, who was anchored right next to ours, and Daniel, Jack, and I went out to a shipwreck about a mile away. And I was on dinghy duty, so while they jumped into the blue water, I was with the dinghy, making sure I stayed near them as the tides and the currents were drifting me around. And they caught a couple fish. It was really fun to see Daniel and Jack work together. They are incredible spear fishermen, and they were a great team. And they got some more fish, and then we went back to the boat, and then we went out with everyone. Spirit Animal arrived, and we had a big crew, and we went out to the coral reef nearby the anchorage, and everyone was spearfishing together. I was flying the drone, getting some footage of everyone. It was a great time, and then we cleaned the fish and went over to Spirit Animal for a little dinner party. It was a great dinner party, but unfortunately you'll find out why the dinner party wasn't perfect. So day 16, we were planning on going on another spearfishing mission, but unfortunately everyone that ate the yellow jack at the dinner party the night before woke up with ciguatera, or however you pronounce it. It's a fish poisoning from reef fish. I think Daniel's gonna put out a video on it, but yeah, we all weren't feeling well, nauseous, kind of like just muscle achy and stomach cramps and a whole variety of symptoms. But yeah, we decided to take it easy that day just to rest it out. We moved back to St. Thomas. There's more protected anchorage there, and we just rested the entire day, hoping to feel better the next day. Day 17, fortunately we woke up and we were feeling a bit better, not fully out of the woods, but definitely better than the day before. And there was actually a little, I don't know what to call it, some kind of event going on at the beach next to the anchorage we were at St. Thomas. So Daniel and I subnated over there and had a fun day checking out the event. And then we came back to the boat and rested some more because our bodies did definitely still need some more rest. Day 18, started to feel even better, still not 100%, but we decided it was finally time to tackle cleaning the underside of the boat. We were tired of being barnacle farmers. We actually hadn't cleaned the boat since I've been here. It was something that we had planned to do back in St. Martin, but we worked on the paddleboard instead. So it was time to tackle that, and Daniel threw on the subnados, and it was really fun watching him work with the subnados, cleaning the underside of the boat. Really cool application for the subnados, and yeah, we tackled that, and it was much needed. The boat's gonna go faster now. Day 19, it's actually my last day on the boat. I cleaned up some things, worked on these videos. Tonight we're gonna have some friends over from the anchorage, and Daniel's making me a goodbye dinner, some steak for being crew, so that's really nice of him. Yeah, I'm really sad that this trip is coming to an end, but all good things have to come to an end, and I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity to crew aboard Adventureborne. It's been a trip of a lifetime. Just wanted to quickly go over a few things that I got to experience for the first time on this trip. I can't list everything I experienced because there's so much to list, and you guys don't want to hear me ramble on for hours. So I'm just gonna list some things that I've experienced for the first time. So sailing in the open ocean, first time actually doing that. Night sailing. Night sailing was incredible because I actually got to have my feet in the water off the swim platform while bioluminescent plankton lit up around my feet, so that was an incredible experience. Got to learn how to use navionics and other applications to look at weather windows for when the best times to sail were and to plan the sailing course. Got to shoot a spear gun for the first time. I wasn't spearfishing, but Daniel let me jump in the water with his gun and shoot one spear off, so that was really fun. I got to hold a fish fillet while it moved. So while Daniel was filleting fish, he let me, he's like, hold this fillet. And I grabbed it, he's like, squeeze it. And it was like jiggling in my hands. Really trippy experience. I guess the nerves or something were still activating while the fish was being filleted. First time I got to use subnados. First time I got to use e-foil. First time I got to use the boost fin. Daniel just has so many toys on the boat. And it was my first time working with fiberglass and epoxy on the paddleboard. So that was really valuable for me to learn how to do that. And honestly, there's more things that I could list, but just to keep this video brief, I'm gonna cut it off there. Lastly, I really want to thank you, Daniel, Capitan, or Adventureman Dan as you might know him, for inviting me into his home, being such an incredible mentor and captain. He really went out of his way to teach me so much about the sailing lifestyle and the cruiser live aboard lifestyle, and I'm really appreciative of that. And he only made me walk the plank a few times. Nah, I'm just kidding. But really, Daniel, thank you so much. The adventures we shared together were far better than I could have ever imagined. This is not a goodbye. I do plan on crossing paths with you again in the near future, whether it's coming and crewing with you again, or maybe even buddy boating with you if I end up getting a sailing vessel of my own, or if it's even just me pulling up in my van when you arrive in the West Coast, and maybe we can do some one-wheeling together and go on some adventures. So whatever it may be, this is not a goodbye. But again, thank you so much for this experience. I'm forever grateful.
I really appreciate Dylan taking the time to film this for me. If you haven't done it before, it really isn't easy to sit in front of a camera and talk openly by yourself. But it's great to be able to look back on so many incredible memories. And I can say with the confidence of personal experience, it's not easy to crew on a boat. Particularly on my boat, because I expect a lot from those who crew for me. But even still, Dylan went above and beyond everywhere he could. He will be remembered as that excellent crew member, setting the bar for all future crew who sail aboard Adventureborne. Because really, he made my life as captain, YouTuber, paddleboard builder, spearfisher, and even laying in bed sick far easier. So to Dylan, I say this: fair winds, following seas, and may there always be just enough water beneath your keel. Cheers. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. I hope you feel inspired to begin adventures of your own. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. For an exclusive, in-depth look at this adventure lifestyle, and to further support my channel, become a member of my Patreon crew. Link in the description. I'll see you on the next adventure.